The IMF says that since recent floods have affected agricultural productivity, food prices would likely worsen in 2023. It also says the volatility in the value of Nigeria's currency, the Naira, the government's continued dependence on the Central Bank of Nigeria for financing its budget deficit could also contribute to higher food prices. Nigeria is facing the worst flooding in a decade, which has washed away thousands of hectares of farmland, killed over 600 people, and displaced more than 1 million more. The country is already dealing with high inflation rates, which rose to 21.09% in October amid the impact of Russia's conflict with Ukraine. Economic experts argue that a food crisis will have a crippling effect on the economy.
The agri sector, contributes significantly to our GDP. If we have that, lost in this whole crisis of the Russia-Ukraine war, the flooding, the security issues, is further going to hit on our GDP. And of course, employment. You agree with me that agriculture still employs the largest population of Nigerians. So if people, especially in the rural areas, are unable to go to farm, are unable to produce because of the flooding, are unable to go to their farm because of the security situations, you're also hitting heavily on our employment numbers.
Economic experts say the government needs to act fast in supporting farmers who have been affected by floods to go into dry season farming in order to cushion the effects of flooding and crash food prices.
I would expect that government will come up with coordinated response with all the ministries and departments that are responsible for agricultural productivity. I would expect that we should be looking towards IITA to get more improved seedlings for our farmers. I would expect that the dry season farming should be looked into. We were unable to farm during the rainy season because of the flooding. So a lot of attention should be given to irrigation farming so that we can come up with better harvest during this dry season.
Nigeria's government has, however, said there's no need for panic as several measures have been put in place to forestall a food crisis. It says it has distributed food aid to vulnerable and flood victims, as well as early maturing wheat, rice, maize, sorghum seeds, cassava cuttings, fertilizers and other farming materials to affected farmers across the country. The federal government has also approved a national flood emergency preparedness and response plan to help in preventing and managing flooding in the future.